have we got today?
Today is VR, as I already said.
Virtual reality.
Yes. Something that I've been excited about, I think probably since about 2012, I started to realise that like this might be a big thing. I think it was about then.
Sure.
Maybe at the start of 2013, because VR's always been like a thing, right?
Yeah.
It's always been kind of so since like the 1980s.
Yeah.
Okay,
It was an 80s
people have sort of been like, oh, VR might be a cool thing. There's that like stupid Nintendo VR thingy that just apparently gave you the worst migraine. It's like all like red inside, and I can't believe they even tried to make that.
Fair play to them for trying.
Yes,
you know?
yeah, and it was something that was on the horizon for a while, like apparently.
Yeah, it was definitely talked about at the time as being like this the next kind of like big leap of technology and stuff.
Yeah.
In terms of entertainment and visual stuff.
Yeah.
But
it never happened.
Yeah.
And it never happened because the technology wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And what changed that was mobile phones. The awesomeness that is mobile phones or smartphones.
Yeah.
So all the like bits of gear in a smartphone, the gyroscope, the magnetometer, particularly the screen, all these things have to like they're all built into a phone, and they became very cheap to make.
Yeah.
And very good.
Yeah.
The screens became much higher, like density. The pixel density like went right up, which is really important for VR because it's like magnified loads.
Yeah, sure. Makes sense.
And consequently, the Palmer Luckey, who was just like a modder, just like a guy in his garage. I think he actually did some. He worked for a VR company, I think, that was doing like army VR and stuff.
Okay.
So like professional VR. That was like kits that are.
Is that for like flying military drones and stuff?
Like training army people.
Okay. Oh right. Yeah. Sorry. I see what you mean. Yeah.
Maybe they did that as well. And basically just came up with some prototype.
Yeah.
That is a load of stuff bolted together. It was literally the instructions to build it to start with were just like with tape.
Yeah, the duct tape model or whatever.
I mean, you look back to some of those old shows. Like there's a video with John Carmack who picked up on this what became the Oculus Rift back in the day, and he picked up on this on the forums that Palmer Luckey was posting on and talking about, and they were and he asked for him to send him a development kit. He sent him it. They built it, and he was like, "Okay, this works. What the hell?" Took it to like a game developers like conference thing, and people were trying it out and were kind of like, okay, right.
I bet they were all pretty skeptical of it at first. And because of its kind of heritage, it's been a bit.
Although,
dodge.
because John Carmack sat, if you don't know who John Carmack is, he's the guy like made like Doom. He ran Armadillo Airspace for a while. Like he's a big deal and very very smart guy. If he's telling you that this VR thing's the best VR demo he's ever seen, you're going to be excited.
You believe it, sure.
And so. Something that had people thought was dead. Yeah. People thought VR had gone. Just suddenly sprang into life because the promise of it, of what it could do.
Yeah.
And the people who had experienced the demo, was so positive that it's going to become a very very big deal, and it's really starting next year.
Soon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, like there's some stuff that's been around talking for the last few years. I mean, this stuff's been in development. Companies like Oculus and stuff have been around for a little while, but like none of it's really commercially available yet.
Not really, no. I mean, people have just had demos at game shows and whatnot. Yeah. I've actually used an Oculus Rift dev kit.
Nice.
Dev kit 2. We'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah, sure.
But there's commercially available ones, but they tend to be, they're not the big flagship like real creme de la creme of VR sort of things. Like things like Google Cardboard.
Which I've tried as well. That's the limited experience I've had.
So the real VR like thing, the real start of it is going to be next year.
Yeah.
And
it's all sort of enabled by the kind of revolution in mobile phone technology, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's cool. And because so it's starting next year. Obviously they're not going to be out of the gate with tons and tons of things to come, because it's still going to be early days. It's still going to be early adopters. I'm pretty confident these things are going to sell very very well, particularly things like the Oculus Rift. I mean, I'm waiting like with bated breath for that pre-order thing.
Yeah.
And
so are thousands of other people.
Yeah.
So you're right, it will sell incredibly well.
Yeah.
How does it fit in with augmented reality, AR? Like, would you consider them sort of one and the same thing, or like?
Yes and no, not really. They're not the same thing.
Sure.
Augmented reality is is basically where you overlay like images over like either a camera or basically over real life.
Yeah.
VR is just totally virtual. They are kind of similar in the sense, and you may get both an AR and VR like headset at some point.
They fall under the same bracket.
Yeah, they do sort of fall under the same bracket.
I do see virtual, and we'll go on to this, but I see virtual reality is more like to do with the immersion aspect of it.
Yes, AR would be more useful.
The phrase virtual reality implies that you're being immersed in like a reality that's different.
Yeah, AR stuff's been around for a while in terms of like available games. So if you get on your phone, you can go on like the Android like Play Store, or iTunes, whatever, or the App Store, and get sort of things that will use your camera on like a QR target to like, so you can like have a little battle between two tanks on your table. And you look at it through your phone.
I've seen that shit. Yeah.
None of them are that good. No. There might well be some awesome stuff coming with that.
Yeah, there might be.
But VR's the one that I'm most excited about at the moment. But some people are more excited about augmented reality, and some people suggest that it might actually be more interesting or kind of have more applications.
Yeah, I think augmented reality possibly has more like more broader applications than virtual reality.
The only reason I'm
personally more excited about virtual reality because of like the kind of alien experience it's going to give you. The kind of like taking you out of your life, putting you in a different world.
Part of me's not. I think augmented reality needs to be really good to work properly and be like better than just sitting on a computer or something if you're going to use it for like a workstation purposes. And so if it's not that, I just don't think anyone's going to use it. It's a bit like Google Glasses. It's like they hand it out to all these people. Everyone starts like, everyone's kind of excited about talking about it, and then they realise it's shit.
Yeah, it's shit, yeah. Part of the reason for that maybe is though that it's just a bit unwieldy. Like you got to wear this chunky ass thing on your face.
Yeah, but I mean, you're sort of always going to have to do that with AR. I'm going to wear something big, or at least glasses sized.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm wearing these. If I could have something that's embedded into these that's totally unnoticeable, but is actually projecting something into my eyes.
Yes.
That isn't really a virtual thing, but is like allowing me to see like maps or like.
But that was the idea of glasses, wasn't it?
Shit
It was a little big, and I imagine, I never used one, but I imagine that actually it was kind of a bit of a pain in the arse. Like just I don't think it was probably that responsive and like not that useful and. Yeah, flicking your glasses. Yeah, the way it was, it just didn't seem ready to me.
No.
It seemed like one of those. Like on the Xbox, the Kinect thing.
Yeah.
Where there's that camera you sort of like wave your hands around in front of, and it's just shit. It's just rubbish.
Yeah. It's pretty shit.
Like, they don't take off because it's never going to overtake like that traditional controller, that thing, until it's better. Until it's
doing a better job.
Exactly.
Until it's like the function of it is just like far, far better.
Yeah. It's like touchscreens never took over keyboards on a phone until the touchscreens were way better than using a keyboard. Yeah. So we just have to wait for that. That's with AR. That's why I think it's a thing that's further away to being like something out of Minority Report. Yeah. Where it's just like putting all this screens up and stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's got to be. You got to. I think it's trickier to do, but there are some companies that maybe making some serious breakthroughs.
Yeah, that might prove you wrong on that point, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So you said just now that you've tried it.
Yeah, I've used.
Tell me.
Yeah, I've used an Oculus Rift Dev Kit 2, which is basically like the second version of the dev kits. There's going to be no more dev kits after this. So the dev kits are just things they send out to developers.
Right.
I got hold of it because a friend works up at the observatory, and they had some for Outreach.
Awesome that they had them.
And he brought it home because he had to do some Linux coding on it or something. And he gave it to me. He went away for the weekend and gave it to me.
What were they actually doing with them? Just out of interest.
I actually don't know.
Like, it's weird.
When he gave it to me, I was so excited. I didn't know what to do myself. So I wasn't really listening to what he was saying. I was just like, just went in my room and just shut the door, and then like put a load of stuff on the door so no one came in. And then it was just me and the Oculus Rift.
For a whole weekend.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was it. I didn't go outside. I had some food in my room. No, I did. I went down to the kitchen
with the
and ordered some takeaways. That was it.
Get them delivered by a drone.
But I tried out a few different things. And so the Dev Kit 2 is not obviously like consumer ready.
Right.
It has some problems, and when I used it, I was like, oh yeah, this is not ready.
Okay. What kind of problems?
Like the pixel density is not high enough. You could see the sort of
pixels.
Yeah, and because they're that OLED thing, they're sort of like these little hexagons. It's like a fine mesh of hexagons in front of your eyes.
Okay.
And it's still an impressive piece of technology. Because the hexagon, it doesn't make that much difference. Like you still feel that thing they call presence, which is like you still feel like you're in certain places.
So that's the part of it that like really interests me, is that aspect of it. Because even the really crappy stuff that I've tried on Google Cardboard gives you just a hint, like a flavour of that.
Yes.
In the sense that like you can just trick your mind, even though they're really kind of quite basic animations and stuff, and it's a bit laggy and it's a bit sort of, it's a bit, the latency's a bit rubbish. Even then I still had this feeling of like, hang on, I'm in this kind of weird like sort of world.
Well, I tell you what, before I go into more detail about the things I did, why don't we go through some of the options that are coming out next year? Just because they won't know what the Oculus Rift is. Like if you haven't heard of it, which you probably will have.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's the company that basically that Palmer Luckey, the guy who sort of reinvented VR, if you like, founded with his VR sort of setup. Yeah. Brought a load of people in, including John Carmack, and they ended up setting up a company that got bought by Facebook a year ago or something for $2 billion.
Sounds about right. $2 billion.
And are releasing their first consumer version in Q1 of next year, which is why I'm waiting for the pre-order like a crazy person, just like refreshing that page.
It's super exciting.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how much it's going to cost though.
Its main application is gaming, the Oculus, right?
Yeah. The Oculus is initially, it's been bought by Facebook, so it's not. They're not focused entirely on gaming, but initially, yes, it's going to be for gamers.
And it's got headphones in it as well.
Yeah, it's got built-in headphones, so you get your VR audio, which is like not surround sound. So surround sound, you get X number of speakers and they just come from different areas. Proper virtual audio is mental.
Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah.
Someone will drop something in the background. And in like the video game, and you'll think in real life that someone has dropped something behind you.
Yeah. Like I remember hearing some of that stuff, and like the door opens in the recording, and I thought the door had opened in the office.
Yeah. So exactly. So what was the thing you was that haircut thing?
Yeah, I've heard a few, but the haircut thing is like one of the classic sort of.
Yeah. So there's like this haircut demo on YouTube if you want to go and watch it. But what's it called? Virtual haircut.
Virtual barbershop.
Barbershop. Yeah. And it's super old, and they just basically use two microphones in the place of someone's ears.
So simple.
And then you just have like a virtual haircut, and it just feels, if you shut your eyes, it really feels like you're there. And it's very, very effective. But that having like a 3D audio in that way is easy in real life, because you just have two
record
mics.
It with the two mics.
But in like a virtual environment, it's super hard.
You have to model it. You have to basically produce it digitally.
Although they think they've cracked it now.
Okay.
Also, some Oculus, I think, bought someone, or have found a way to start doing this sort of thing. So audio is going to be a big part of VR as well as the visual experience. So Oculus, and then there's the big gaming platform on the PC side. Mm-hmm. So Oculus is going to, I think it's going to actually, the Xbox One is going to be able to put games out onto the Oculus, but I think it's only to play on like a giant screen, if you like, in the Oculus,
like the theater mode.
Yeah,
whatever,
and that Xbox One is not powerful enough to run an Oculus. No way.
Right.
It can't even put out 1080p properly for most of its games. But it might be able to for some like more basic ones. It'd do better than a phone, for example.
Yeah.
Then there's the Oculus is mainly PC really. The other one is the Steam HTC sort of partnership thing.
I don't really know anything about that at all.
It's basically
much about it.
Well, what's really impressive about that is it's got some really cool like hand controllers, which Oculus will also have, and we'll talk a bit more about input in a bit. But what's really cool about that is it's kind of got these laser towers that surround you, put in a room. I don't know if they're actually going to go down that route for your like
head movement.
Yeah. So there's certain movements with a headset. If you look like left and right, you can just use a magnetometer, up and down, a gyroscope or whatever. But to do like positional tracking,
kind of stuff.
Exactly, like moving left to right, in physical space. You can't do with just sensors on the thing. So you have to have some way of like tracking that. So Oculus are using a camera. And Steam VR or HTC Vive are using these like laser towers that spray lasers all over the place.
That's badass.
And then on the headset you'll see like these little reflector points all over it.
Okay.
And that basically they'll be able to track it using that. But apparently it's very, very effective.
Yeah, I can imagine that's really like high resolution. The movements are really high resolution.
But it's also very expensive, I think.
Is the Oculus one? So the camera is literally just like something you mount on like Neo PC or something.
Yes,
a bit like a Kinect or something.
It looks like a webcam.
Right. And then that's gonna just literally like motion capture kind of like your head.
Yes, essentially. Yeah. So you can't see it, but on the Oculus Rift they actually have little. I think they're basically like little IR kind of things.
Yeah, they're sort of dotted all
IR
over
lights or infrared lights. They're infrared lights. That's what they are.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
IR lights are the same thing.
Yeah.
And you can't see it on the Dev Kit 2 and the most recent iteration because they're behind a piece of material that you just can't see the light from them. But if you took that off, you'd see loads of lights underneath.
Right.
So
the camera watching them,
but the camera can still pick it up, and then using them and some other bit of maths and stuff, it can work out.
Yeah.
Exactly where your head is in 3D space.
Yeah. So that's obviously one of the big things that's going to help with presence is like being able to actually like move your head around and
it helps you stop feeling sick as well.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a bit. So that's going to be really interesting because it's obviously integrated into Steam because Steam's like a huge library. It's great to have like some massive company like that behind it. Although now that Oculus is part of Facebook, it's as big as anything else, if not bigger.
There's also the PlayStation one, like Project Morpheus, whatever it was called. I think it's changed its name now, isn't it? It's just PlayStation VR.
It's just called Project Morpheus, and Project Morpheus is similar to the Oculus. It's going to have a slightly lower resolution, I think, and it won't be because the PlayStation 4 is not going to be as powerful as like a high-powered PC. But it's you can optimize better because it's a console. But it's got quite a cool like head-mounted thing.
It looks really cool.
Yeah, it does. It sort of sits on the back of your head in a different way.
It sort of goes on like that, doesn't it? It's like a kind of like weird.
Sort of on the top of your head, like curves around the top of your head. Unlike the others, which are sort of ski goggles.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, that's it. The demos of it have been really good, and they use PlayStation Move for the input. We'll talk about that in a bit. And yeah, but apart from that, I mean, the quality of that experience is going to be probably slightly less than the Oculus and the Steam VR, but the barrier to entry is going to be a lot lower.
Sorry, Karen.
Yeah, for the Oculus and the Steam, you're going to have an expensive gaming PC to run it. Yeah. Like my PCs are maybe 3 years old now. I built like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, maybe 2. Yeah.
It's got a graphics card in it that's powerful. It was a beast at the time. I need to replace it for those.
Right.
Which is a shitter because it's going to cost a lot.
Got to be done.
Yeah, it's got to be done. And with the PlayStation VR, you just need a PS4, which is nowhere near the cost of a gaming PC.
Yeah.
And of course, you just the actual headset. I don't know how much it's going to be, but it's going to be the same price, if not cheaper, than the Oculus, and probably not as much as the HTC.
Okay, so yeah, right. So it's basically like just like a slightly cheaper option for people who have PlayStations who want like a bit of VR.
Yeah, I think. I mean, there is going to be some like dedicated games for it. I mean, I'm hoping that it's going to be like the thing that brings VR to the masses and a bit more, because the Oculus might just be a bit more niche.
Right.
And same with Steam.
Yeah.
And the hardcore will get it.
It will certainly be that the next generation of consoles is like standard. Comes with VR, like they're all built for VR. They all come with headsets, etc.
Badass.
Yeah, I think that's going to be what happens. But yeah, talk more about that in a bit. So there's plenty of other companies sort of vying for position here, trying to have their own spin on it, like produce some kind of VR, get in as part of that VR pie,
a tasty pie.
Some of the minor ones, we've already mentioned Google Cardboard. That was almost just like kind of a joke, but it was just them going kind of like, oh look, we can make it super cheap.
I thought it was very clever.
It was cool. Yeah, it was like, oh, you're spending all this money, Facebook, like spending $2 billion buying Oculus.
Yeah, I thought
put a bit of cardboard together, and you've already got a mobile phone.
Yeah,
like there you go.
I thought it was very clever. You've used Google Cardboard.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
It was cool. It was fun. Like I did a roller coaster one. And I'd never done anything like that before.
We should just say Google Cardboard is basically like a piece of cardboard, like literally.
Literally a bit of cardboard.
So I bought one actually. Did you buy one as well?
I bought one for my brother as a present.
Yes. Okay.
So I tried his and I tried yours, and
but you didn't make it. You bought it. I bought it, and you sort of semi-make it.
Yeah. Like it came flat. It came flat packed.
Yeah. It's like
you have to like fold it together. Yeah.
It's like a piece of IKEA furniture.
Yeah.
But you can literally make
cardboard.
Yes. Yeah. But you can literally make it yourself without.
Sure.
Like you can buy all the individual parts if you want, just from like hardware shops and build it. That was the point of it.
Yeah.
And then cool. Loads of like third-party companies then sort of came and just made their own versions of it and sold them.
And obviously loads of developers made kind of like fun little apps for it. And I don't know if there's any actual games, but most of it was just sort of little videos and stuff.
So what it is just a piece of cardboard where you cut out the shape of it. It folds into sort of like a headset you can put against your face. It's got a couple of lenses in it, and you
have to hold it.
Like you have to hold it against your face, although you might be able to get something to strap it to it. Yeah. And you just stick your smartphone in it. And your smartphone screen and its little magnetometer and gyroscope and all those sort of things that it uses...
Just sort you out. Do the whole job.
Accelerometer, sorry.
You have like the two separate eyes, the two separate images for each eye, stereo, so you get the 3D effect.
Yeah, so that's how all VR is at the moment. Is basically just projecting two different images into your eyes. Sorry, not projecting into your eyes, on a screen in front of your eyes.
Yes.
And they're slightly offset, and it creates a really like the 3D in it isn't like a 3D movie. It's nothing like it.
Yeah, sure.
It feels
that's an illusion of 3D.
Yeah,
it's just this is exactly like what your eyes see now in day-to-day life. Anyway,
exactly. Yeah. It's just a replica of what your eyes would see in those environments.
So it's not even really right to just call it 3D because it's just sort of reality in a way. You know, like 3D video implies that there's some kind of like representation of 3D, which isn't what it is at all. It's like actually. It's mimicking what your eyes see in the real world.
Yeah.
Having said that, though, about the projection into your eyes thing, one of the other kind of smaller companies that are producing headsets, they've actually come out and said that they're not really trying to make a VR headset. So including it in this show is just like as a side thing. But this company, either like Avegant or I think it's called Avegant. They're making this headset called the Glyph. Yeah. And that's actually projecting directly onto your retina. Right. So you're not looking at screens. That's actually projecting onto your retina, but it's only got like a 45-degree angle, 45-degree like field of view, so you'll see around the periphery of it.
That's crap.
Yeah, it's crap, and I've seen bits and pieces online of people saying that it is crap.
Is that the one that looks like some headphones?
Yeah, they kind of look quite cool.
Yeah.
But it's almost like that's what they're going for.
It just looks like a pair of headphones.
So they've said that the point of it is basically to like watch movies, like so instead of having to watch things on your smartphone, like when you're traveling on trains or airplanes or whatever, you just flip these things down and you have like quite a nice like screen, and you can still have a peripheral vision if people come and give you food and drink and stuff. I don't know.
So it's not going to be for
it's not for gaming, it's not for like proper immersive VR at all. It absolutely won't be that, and they're not trying to do that, but it is projecting it into your eyes, which is cool. And another kind of smaller company I was reading about today is that Fove one, Fove VR.
Oh yeah.
So they are making a proper immersive VR headset, and the cool thing about theirs is it has eye tracking.
Right.
So they have like little cameras in there that track your eyeballs.
How big is that headset?
It's not actually that big. You should have a look at pictures of it. Check out the pictures of it. It just looks like it's a little bit bigger than the Oculus. It's a little bit deeper than the Oculus.
Oh right. Okay. Sure.
That way.
Yes.
From your face.
Yes.
And they say that they can allocate resources a bit more efficiently because they can change the focus, like the pixel focus, basically where you're looking. So that's one of the applications of having eye tracking, so that you can like focus on an object and everything else in the image doesn't need to be such high resolution.
Yeah.
Also, you can like target with your eyes, and you can like another thing they're saying on their website is like eye contact with like other other virtual like avatar people and stuff. You can I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I wonder
the technology for eye tracking, I think, is something that we might see a bit more in the future. I don't know. It's a cool idea.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how like that. I guess it because you can move the image when your eyes move as well.
No,
that's not what you want.
No, because they still have the head tracking, the gyroscopes, magnetometers, and all that stuff as well.
Yes.
So you'd want it so that like the image stays the same.
Yeah, you don't want to look around.
And when your eyes move.
Wait, you want, as long as you've got enough field of view to move your eyes around, then you want to.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how it would work. I'm presumably these things tend to have like 100-degree sort of field of views, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I think the Oculus is like 90.
Okay. But imagine, I would imagine that to use like the data of like eye tracking properly, you'd want to sort of, if you looked over there, for example, you maybe would expand that, like change the field of view slightly. That kind of thing would be one way to use that data.
And you said, so the other thing is like avatar models.
Yes.
Like in games or in like social environments, right?
Social, yeah, I think social was the thing that they were really thinking about. Although I don't really know why that matters.
But just because, like, if you're so say we're both in virtual reality, and you're like in Australia and I'm in the UK or whatever, and we're just like you're having a meeting and you're like avatar sitting in front of me, like eye contact and talking to people and like looking around, it's just an extra immersive thing. It's like a more motion tracking thing they can put in. But that avatar's not going to look anything like you anyway. But otherwise, it's just like a thing that's like mouth moves.
Just sort
of when it detects sound. Yeah, it could be very bizarre.
Actually, that might have a huge effect then, like in terms of that kind of side of it, the social side.
Yeah, you might need to have like a proper facial capture, like VR thing. Anyway, we'll talk about more of that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
That sounds like a cool piece of kit. It's a bit different.
Something to keep your eye on for sure.
Do you know kind of tech. Was there anyone trying it out?
Yes, that FOVE. Oh, do you mean? Oh, sorry.
Like,
you mean like people
like
demoing it and stuff? Yeah. There's people have tried it. Yeah.
Was it good? Bad?
Yeah. The general reaction has been pretty good. Although I don't think they haven't really developed like the application of the eye tracking technology enough so basically when you try it out, you just end up comparing it to stuff like the Oculus.
Yeah.
Which is not quite as good at in terms of like latency or resolution and just the whole presence, immersive kind of quality of it. But I think when you develop the world that it opens up in terms of eye tracking needs to be developed more, and like the applications of that and stuff could lead to some pretty cool places.
Nice. There was that Razer one as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, I don't know much about that.
I think it's not. I think it's basically to help developers. So it's kind of like an open platform thing, in which they share all the like technology and everything behind it, and just chuck it out into the public. And it's supposed to help like people develop VR applications, VR games, VR whatever's.
Right.
But I think the quality of the headset is not as good as the Oculus or the Vive. So it's probably not going to make a big splash for the consumer, but is kind of working behind the scenes, if you like, helping developers, helping people kind of get VR, get it going. Because obviously companies that are looking to make applications for VR or looking to make games or anything are going to have to put a lot of money into it, but they don't know that the VR set headsets are going to sell yet. Like there's no proof at all that the market demands VR, aside from like the excitement. But does that translate to sales of quite expensive pieces of hardware? Potentially not.
Yeah, sure.
So there's a worry that people are going to spend like X number of millions making a game for a thing that doesn't sell any units to play on, and a medium that doesn't take off. So having like open source development that's free and available, it just helps ease those costs, helps smaller developers work on smaller games and smaller applications. So it's useful, but it's not something you're probably going to end up buying.
No, sure. I can't imagine this thing not taking off though, to be honest.
Well,
I understand like when you're talking about these kind of quantities of money for these developers and stuff, like you can't gamble on this kind of thing.
No.
I
agree.
It's definitely going to be a big thing.
I mean, we'll talk about using one in a second, but I cannot see it going any other way.
No.
The other two things that are coming out, I think, that are relevant to this but aren't really virtual reality, although one of them might have some virtual reality like mode. Other two AR things are forgetting Google Glasses, because that's been scrapped and it's not really what we're talking about either. We're talking really about for like full blown big headsets that really are quite heavy and spectacular and very useful for certain things. It's HoloLens and
Microsoft
Magic
thing.
Leap. So HoloLens is the Microsoft kind of. I don't know if it's going to go on the Xbox One. I don't think it has any compatibilities with that, but it's certainly going on PCs.
Yeah.
And it's basically just an augmented reality headset. So you stick it on your head.
Integrates with Windows 10, doesn't it?
Yeah.
At least that's kind of the idea of it.
Just Windows 10, or because Windows 10 is going to be on the Xbox One and everything on your phone, everything. So maybe it will be able to do with the Xbox One. I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember. But it's quite cool. It's basically trying to do that Minority Report thing where you have a bunch of stuff sort of in front of you. Like your desktop is kind of like floating in front of you, and you can do like 3D modeling of clays and things with kind of some tools that they give you, some sort of input devices you hold. It looks cool. They also played a game of Minecraft on a table,
right?
And like, so they're walking around this table, and it's got in the middle of it like your kind of Minecraft kind of village or thing that they build in that game, and play that game.
Kind of Minecraft stuff.
Yeah, and like, and you can sort of like dig into the table, and it sort of
okay, that's
chips
cool.
away and kind of it's cool.
It's novel, but it's cool.
And the other thing is like, if you have it on, you can have like a giant HD TV on your wall.
Okay, that's badass.
So you can sit back and with a HoloLens, and you've got like a 75-inch giant plasma TV that's taking up one wall and watch movies. That
is badass. How is the image projected into your eyes?
It's a screen.
Screens.
It's a small clear screen that sits very close to your eye.
So the thing is about those. Like any kind of videos I've seen of AR stuff tends to be like whatever the image is that's projected in front of you tends to be a bit transparent. So if you're like watching a movie that's meant to be like an HD movie in like using an AR headset, is it going to be a bit transparent? And if it is, then screw that.
I agree. If the image quality isn't good enough, then
if it's not as good as watching it on the TV or better, then fuck it.
Yeah.
But if it is better, then that's awesome.
Or as good.
Yeah.
It won't probably there's a certain level in which it's going to have to be good enough, and I'm not convinced it will be. I think it's got also a very small field of view again, like similar, like a 45 or something degree field of view.
Yeah. But that's okay, I think, if you're watching something.
Yes, and it's not trying to do the presence surround yourself, immerse yourself in VR kind of thing that the other device is doing. It's more like a workstation tool. Ultimately, rather than it'll be something for playing games and watching and consuming some media in, but it's not going to try and put you in another world.
No.
And the Magic Leap thing is a mysterious kind of mythical last one. There's been lots of talk about.
Highly secretive, heavily invested in from the likes of Google and stuff.
Huge investments.
Like $500 million they picked up mainly from Google last year, right?
Yes. And the Magic Leap thing's interesting because people who have used it have said it's like nothing else they've ever seen.
Yeah, like revolution. Yeah. Something revolutionary technology.
There's some sort of technology in it, some sort of fiber optic, like project it into your retina technology that is apparently quite unbelievable. And the way that the VR works on it, the AR works on it, the kind of software algorithms and stuff they've used mean that objects don't look like they're sort of sat like virtually on something. Because they can do things like if you move around an object that's sat underneath a table, say, and you move past one of the legs of the leg blocks out the augmented reality like object as if it was underneath the table, rather than in a normal AR thing it would lose sight of.
Yeah, it would just like weirdly look like it's floating in front of the table.
Yeah, or it would lose sight of the sort of QR like block thing, the code that it sat on, and it would just sort of spaz out and go mental.
Yeah, sure.
And you would just look terrible.
Yeah.
So there's something really fancy about it, and like kind of you'll be able to sit down and like look at a solar system and like in a classroom, for example, and be able to talk about like the different planets and stuff if everyone's wearing one of these. So the Magic Leap thing I think is more exciting than the HoloLens. I think it's probably got some really like quite special technology in it, but it's a long way off.
Yeah, and it's really hard to know because they're so secretive.
Yeah.
And all of the kind of promotional videos that I've seen have arguably not actually been that impressive. Obviously, I'm not wearing the headsets and stuff, so I mean, whatever. I'm just looking at like a video of some computer-generated object in an office. But I'm a bit like, okay,
they're technologically very impressive.
But everything I've read about people who've tried it and stuff, they all say that like this is something completely like a leap.
Yeah. A magic leap. We're not sponsored by them.
Of technology.
They can sponsor us though if they want.
Yeah, they can. They can definitely sponsor us. That'll be fine. Yeah, but and there's other weird things like some of the promotional videos I've seen involve like, say, children in a classroom, or like that one that recently of kids sat in like a school assembly hall and like a massive like whale jumps out of the floor. Have you seen that?
Have I seen that? Maybe.
It's quite cool.
I've seen.
So everyone's just sat there, and then this huge whale like breaches out of the floor of the gym and then falls it back into the thing. That's pretty cool. And they're all like, but the weird thing is about those videos. I know they're just promotional videos, but the weird thing about those is that nobody's wearing anything. Like headset? They didn't even close. I mean,
headsets. Well, I tell you why that is.
Because it's a promotional video.
Well, yeah, and the thing looks like apparently the actual like instrument at the moment that they put on people's head is like a giant like torture device that's absolutely massive, like metal monstrosity. Like, you have to like screw onto someone's head.
A bit like the kind of things they use to test your eyesight and shit, like mega huge things.
Yeah. So they got to do a lot of miniaturization stuff. But
they seem to be doing that as well. I mean, there was that patent thing that dropped like last year of like these little sunglass-sized things with like a little battery pack and patented or something. So, I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of promise in that one, but I feel like it's a fair bit away. It's not a 2016 thing like most of the VR stuff.
No. We might get some more info about it next year, and certainly if there's something like really cool that drops about it, we might chat about it again in another video.
For sure.
So we'll see how that goes.